Hey everybody, I'm Tasha with the Major Change Group, and today I want to talk about the Navy Federal Easy Start Certificate and is it worth it? I want to give some pros and cons of the certificate. Let's get into it. So I would definitely say that the Navy Federal Easy Start Certificate is worth it because let's say you're like me to where you are not naturally a saver, or at least I wasn't naturally a saver, but now I feel like I am doing so much better because this is the second year that I have done the certificate and I'm really liking it. And so the certificate that I have is going to be maturing in April. And so I'm trying to decide if I'm going to keep it a third year, but I'll get into that later in the video. So I would say that the number one pro of the certificate is that you get a fixed rate. And so when I had got the Easy Start my first year, they had the highest APY that they had probably in 10 years, and it was a 5% APY. Now, with the Easy Start, you have to pick a term. And so the first time that I did it, I had picked 15 months, and it was 15 months with a 5% APY. And you get monthly dividends. And see what I did, I didn't touch my dividend. So although I was getting the dividend every month, I didn't touch it. And so that's why I was able to get 5% APY. Because when you are doing a certificate, let's say for the 15 months, you can't take the money out for one. And so I was like, for one, that's a con, because I'm just like, am I going to be able to not touch this money for 15 months? But I was able to. And you can't withdraw anything, but you could withdraw your dividend. But since I just kept my dividend in there, but if you take your dividend out, then you were only going to be getting 4.88 APY. So I just kept mine in so that I can get 5% APY. And so I really like the fact that the APY, or the interest rate, is fixed compared to. So y'all, last year I had got me a high yield savings account with Marcus with Goldman Sachs. And I believe that my APY on that was 4.9. But y'all, why is it like 3.9 now? And so I'm just like, oh my goodness, it's going down. It hasn't went back up. And so, with their certificate, that's what I really like, that the interest rate is fixed. But on the same hand, you can't take none of the money out. So you'll have to decide, which one you like better. But that's one of the reasons, and probably the main reason, that I really like the certificate, since the interest rate is fixed. Now, I would say another pro to the Easy Start is you can deposit as low as $50, and every month you can deposit more money. Or like me, I had just put a lump sum of money in there and I just set it and forget it. So you can do it multiple ways. And so let's say if maybe naturally you're not a saver and you're trying to get into that habit by getting a certificate, and then even just putting the $50 in there, it'll get you more accustomed to putting the money in there and not touching it. And so now I think, I'm pretty good with it. And so I'm going to have to decide whether I'm going to do it another year. Now, let's say the number one con for me is that you cannot withdraw any of the money. And so when you are deciding to do a certificate or a high yield saving, really have to figure out, okay, this amount of money that I'm going to be putting in there, I have to make sure that I'm not going to need it. And so for myself, I had ended up doing, so I have my certificate, but I also have the high yield savings, to where, that's maybe where you can put your rainy day fund, just in case if you need some money, you can get to that. Compared to the certificate, you can't touch that except for your dividend. And so, but I didn't want to touch either one. So I just set it and forget it. But I think overall, the certificate is definitely worth it, especially if you are somebody that's not really a natural saver. This can get you more discipline. And I really like that, once you get your certificate, whatever your APY is at that time is going to stay there. So you'll have to let me know in the comments, what do you think about the Navy Federal Certificate? Or are you going to be considering getting a certificate? So they have the Easy Starts, and the highest APY is at 3.95% interest with a 12-month term. And there's no max. So that's the one that I have. I like that one. Now, the special Easy Starts, you can deposit a minimum of $50 and you can put money in at any time. But the only thing is that you can only put a maximum of $3,000 in this one, but you have to have a checking account and direct deposit. So I really like the certificates, and I did the 12-month, but mine was like 4.8 last year, but the rates have went down. And so that's the only thing. There's like a pro and a con. So the pro is, last year when I got it, my rate was higher, but see now when my certificate is about to mature, the APY is lower. And so that's the only downside. So you'll have to let me know in the comments, which savings vehicle do you really like? Do you prefer a certificate or do you prefer high yield savings? I do like both, and I think that both have pros and cons to each. And so you really have to decide which one is good for you. But I actually really like kind of having both, because I can have the certificate and I can put a lump sum in there and and especially get that fixed rate, and then have the high yield savings, and then just have that as my kind of my rainy day fund, so where if I really need to get it, I can. And so having a mix is good, and I really like that. But I'm trying to figure out which other high yield savings account has some higher rates. But on the same hand, it's just like, man, I don't want to be having to move the money all the time. And so I was looking at the American Express, but you'll have to let me know in the comments. Do you have a bank or another credit union that has some good rates? Let me know in the comments. What are you thinking? But overall, I think any savings, the certificate or the high yield savings is better than the regular savings, because the regular savings, usually you only getting, a couple of cents depending on how much you have in there, compared to with the high yield savings, you can get a little bit more, or even with the certificate, you can get a little bit more. So you'll have to let me know in the comments, what do you think? But I hope that this video was helpful. Please like, subscribe, share with a friend, and turn your notification bell on so you'll be notified when new content drops. I thank you so much for watching. Until next time, a 2025 digital budget planner. I posted it on my Etsy shop. You can go into the description and click on the link. It's not a game.